Hi.
Oh, hi there, everybody. Welcome to our open book. Very good to be with you, Carol Bremer, Maggie, Catherine, Joan Denny, John O'Hare, Mark Kimball, S.R., O'Brien, Jeremy Sicking, Marianne, Joe Geese, Ray Padilla, Karen Smith, Ann Wheeler, Joan Denny. Very good to be with everybody. John Mahoney, and a couple of pieces of tile.
Oh, sorry. Disregard me, please.
We could never.
Well, unfortunately, SR, ready for the cheesecake, there was a problem with communications. And so Mark Kurlinski, the author of the novel Cheesecake, will not be joining us tonight. My apologies. Not certain what happened. But it is the night of the All-Star game. So I'm going to read a sports writing all-star, Red Smith.
Oh, wonderful.
And this was column he wrote, I believe, in spring training, 1964, Yogi and Casey. This would be Yogi Berra and Casey Stengel, the manager. Everything all right, Maggie?
Everything's great.
Okay. By the way, I saw another Yogi Berra story, of course, famous, for what are called today his yogiisms. Things like the place is too crowded. Nobody goes there anymore. That's a big one. But apparently it was said that he was at a Yankees old timers event and they had the jerseys hung up with the names of Yankee stars who had left our earth. And apparently Yogi Berra said to his teammates, "Boy, I hope I never live to see my name up there."
Really on top of it, Yogi.
So, Yogi and Casey. This is a Red Smith column, and of course they were two great all-stars. Yes, spring training, March 25, 1964. Fort Lauderdale, Florida. The first time Roger Maris, he of course would break the home run record, went to bat. He was booed just as though this were an ordinary ball game, but it wasn't. You could tell that on arrival in the press box. The people in sarong and gloriously inadequate halters swayed down the aisle, serving rare viands and pale yellow daiquiris to authors from Nashville and Newark, Washington and Rochester, and other exotic points. This was the confrontation, eyeball to eyeball, like Khrushchev and Mao, Goldwater and Rockefeller, Macy's and Gimbel's. The Mets were playing the Yankees. This is before the days of interleague play, and it was teacher against pupil, the first summit meeting of these mighty baseball intellects, Charles Dillon Stengel and Lawrence Peter Berra. Trailed by authors from Nashville and Newark, Washington and Rochester, Mr. Stengel moved across the field, encountered Mr. Berra a little short of the Yankee dugout, and bowed from the waist, removing his cap with a sweeping gesture. Remember, of course, that Casey Stengel had managed the Yankees for many years before he managed the Mets. "You see, I got a Beatle haircut," the great man said. Authors from Nashville and Newark, Washington, and Rochester scribbled frantically to preserve the words for history alongside, "What hath God wrought? Lafayette, we are here, and I'll pay you next week." "I hear you're catching batting practice," Mr. Stengel said. Mr. Berra confirmed the rumor modestly. "Well, when you worked for me," the master told the pupil, "you said I was killing you if I wanted you to catch a little batting practice." "Yeah, but you had me catching double headers too," Yogi said. "Yeah, I was killing you," Casey said. "You don't look so dead to me, though. You look pretty rich." Before they had highways, you always got sick 2 days before Orlando. I went there every year, Mr. Barra said. You did not. Now it's 2 hours on these highways or quicker if you fly, but it was 5.5 hours. St. Pete to Orlando. You always got sick. You and about 4 others. That Mickey Mantle, he always said something had to happen to him, too. What's wrong?
Nothing. I'm enjoying it.
Okay. Whitey. Whitey's the one, Yogi said. Whitey Ford, the great pitcher. 17 years in the American League, and Ford hasn't seen Florida yet. Yeah, we'll tell him he's a coach now, and he's got to make the trips, the master said. He'll be a good coach for you. You can catch batting practice one-handed, Mr. Stengel said, and you know which pitchers are throwing hard. That's right, Yogi said. And you can tell something about the hitters, your own men. You can find out what some guys can't hit if you catch batting practice. Yogi nodded, grinning. You can see a lot behind that cage, too, but the best place is out on the field, Casey said again and again. Mr. Barra again nodded agreement. You can see what they're doing. They don't know you're watching them. They say I can't swing natural when he's standing behind me. But if you're out there in center, they don't know you're watching. You think you're just out there talking to somebody, Mr. Barry said. Hey, Rich and Kubek, want to say hello. Yankees who had played for Mr. Stengel had halted their warm-up pitch catch and edged in, grinning at the sparkling repartee. Good to see you boys, Casey told them. I hope you all do splendid, and I know you will. The umpires appeared. The players deployed. The thinkers took their seats in the dugouts, and the battle was thereby joined. Ralph Terry shut out the Mets for 5 innings on 4 hits. Carl Willie shut out the Yankees for 6 innings on 4 hits. Pete Mickelson and Hal Reniff each pitched a scoreless inning for the Yankees. In the 7th, Larry Bernarth picked up where Willie left off. Suddenly, Larry Nat, umpiring behind the plate, whirled and leveled an imperious forefinger at the Yankee dugout. Whitey Ford and Jimmy Gleason, coaches who had been commenting audibly on Knapp's judgment, were through for the day. Cost Mr. Barrow 1/2 of his brain trust. I remember, this is spring training. The manager protested with spirit, while Yogi and the umpire jawed nose to nose. Mr. Stengel stuck his neck up out of the visitor's dugout and blew him a kiss. In the 8th, Frank Thomas singled, home a run against the Yankees' Tom Metcalf. Bernarth protected the shutout through the last 2 innings, and the Mets had their 4th victory in 4 starts against American League teams. Well, every day is a crisis, said Mr. Stengel. I like that. Can I read one more?
Yes, of course.
All right. This one. I think you're going to recognize. The column is called Mr. Cub. There's 2-3 guys ought to be ruled out of baseball, Gary Schumacher of the Giants has said, because they make the game look too easy. And the biggest offender of them all is Ernie Banks. They voted Joe Cronin the greatest living shortstop, said Cliff Keen of Boston during the All-Star festivities in 1969 in Washington, D.C., which celebrated a centennial of professional baseball. Well, he couldn't wear Ernie Banks' spikes. I wish colleges didn't always feel they had to save their honorary degrees for fat cats who give them a lot of money. Member of the Roosevelt University administration in Chicago confided one day, I want Roosevelt to confer a doctorate on Ernie Banks. I have an honorary degree from Roosevelt.
You do, yes.
No.
Chicago.
Okay. I thought so, but I just wanted to confirm.
Yeah. I call it Picasso's fiasco, a rising heap of rusting iron, said Alderman John Olin. When Pablo Picasso presented his 5-story metal sculpture in the city of Chicago in 1967, Holin, by the way, I covered his campaign for mayor years later. Holin introduced a resolution in city council rejecting the gift and proposing for its place in front of the Civic Center a 5-story statue of Ernie Banks as, quote, a living symbol of this vibrant city. These are a few of the people who've had their say about Ernie Banks at September 8, 1953, when the Chicago Cubs brought him up from the Kansas City Monarchs of the Negro American League. Now, Ernie Banks has his. With Jim Enright as a collaborator, Ernie tells his own story under the title Mr. Cub, a book we happen to have upstairs, interestingly enough.
So surprising.
Yeah,
I'm
surprising.
shocked by that.
Nobody who has felt the sunny warmth of Ernie Banks, either in personal contact or by reflection through sports pages, will be surprised to learn that his book has little in common with other recent products of the sweaty literati. That's a great phrase, isn't it?
The sweaty literati?
Yeah.
That's us after the gym.
So, yeah, that's right.
Sorry.
That's what he meant.
Yeah.
Such as Jim Bouton's Ball 4 and Kurt Flood's The Way It Is. I happen to love Jim Bouton's Ball 4, but I know what he means. Bouton's opus made the bestseller lists on the strength of the intimacies he reveals about some former teammates and the snares he directs towards others. Flood says that he detested Solly Heems, one of his managers. That Banks ever met anybody he didn't like. The secret is still locked inside of it. The choice of a collaborator is evidence of his tolerance, for although Jim Enright is a jovial soul and an amiable press box companion who has covered the Cubs longer than Ernie has played with them, he has a dark past as a basketball referee. It was only a few years ago that Enright, a spherical man, went square after breathing through a whistle practically all his adult life. In his years with the Cubs, Banks played under Phil Cavaretta, Stan Hack, Bob Sheffing, Charlie Grimm, Uncle Charlie, Lou Boudreau, and Leo DeRocher. He not only has warm words for all of them, he also esteems Phil Wrigley as the most considerate of employers, and Jim Gallagher and John Holland as general managers, and even speaks well of the College of Coaches that presided during the 5 seasons when the Cubs had no manager at all. They would have a different coach be manager every month. It was terrible.
That sounds awful.
The College of it was.
It's like when someone gets divorced and, they're just dating.
It's been my good fortune, Ernie recalls, to have had exceptional rapport with all my managers. But Bob Sheffing paid me the most flattering compliment I've ever received. In an interview, Bob said, during my first 26 years in baseball, Joe DiMaggio is the only player I've ever considered rating ahead of Ernie Banks after the year Ernie had for me in 1959. He batted fourth behind 3 hitters who didn't come even close to averaging .260. Still batted in 143 runs. He also hit 45 homers, and I figure that his bat was directly responsible for 27 of our 74 victories that season. And a field, he was the equal of any shortstop I've ever seen. Ernie, of course, was also on the team whose collapse in 1969.
You triggered?
Oh, it was terrible. Ahead for most of the season, and you know who won the pennant that year? The New York Mets.
Mr. Met. Not quite Mr.
Mr. Met.
Yeah, not quite Mr. Cup.
Whose team collapse in 1969 prompted Leo DeRocher to say, and forgive me I'm going to read a vulgarism that Leo used, and I'm also going to do my Leo DeRocher impersonation. Thankfully, nobody sitting here at this table is in a good position to know if it's a good imitation or not, right? Yeah, exactly. Hey, I could have dressed up 9 broads as ball players and they would have beaten the Cubs. That's Leo all the way, Ernie just tells us. A bark now, a good laugh a little later. Nobody can build a player's morale like Leo. The author, it must be remembered, is a man who says of his high school football coach, "I've never known a man who coached with more dedication than Coach Holly. He made us practice until dark, and if you made a mistake, he wrapped you across the rump with a board that he always carried." I don't think they let them do that anymore. Though it has much to enjoy and admire, Mr. Cub is not recommended as reading for fans of the Giants or the Mets, the Expos, or any other National League club outside of Chicago. It makes you root for the Cubs so that Ernie Banks can finally play in a World Series.
Very nice.
The date of that column, May 25, 1971. You know how many years it took the Cubs to reach the World Series?
Tell us again.
2016!
Were you at that?
Yes, I was at the 3 games they played in Chicago. Oh, I'm sorry. You knew that, didn't you?
I did. I just thought it was worth it.
Including my great conversations as a fan and as a man who loves my wife. I was walking to the park for the 3rd game. They had lost the 2 that I went to. And I called up Caroline and I said, "Darling, I don't know if I should go. They lost the first 2." And you said, "Darling, you must go. If you don't go, you will never be able to enjoy another Cubs game because you will blame yourself."
Such a good point.
And I went.
And they won.
Yes.
Because of you.
Exactly.
Actually, because of her.
Because of
probably.
Caroline.
Yes.
Of Caroline.
No,
Entirely because of the broads playing for them.
Yeah. Nothing to do with that management.
In my book, Home and Away, I describe when Leo came to Chicago to manage the Cubs because he was picked up by Uncle Charlie and Auntie Marion, who took him to dinner at Eli's The Place for Steak. Isn't that a surprise? And
nothing better than a Chicago.
The Place for Steak and cheesecake.
Nothing
better. Nothing better. And Popo carried.
Yes, I like what John says. Poplio might have gone, even though he's a White Sox fan.
So, in any event, and Leo was florid during dinner about his. No, but he was happy to be with the Cubs. He was happy to be back in business. He. The College of Cardinals.
Yes, we have some very funny
We do have some very
viewers.
You guys are very funny. So thanks for being with us tonight on our open book.
And we'll put a link to Home and Away in the post for those who have not had the opportunity to
Well,
read
we
it
put a link for Home and Away.
Yes, we will.
Post?
Every
Okay.
time you mention a book that you've written, and probably other people who have written books, but at least ones that you've written, we'll link so you can get it from your local independent bookstore.
Right. Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, thanks very much. See you later. Take care. I hope so. Take care. Bye-bye. Oh, guest tomorrow night. David Litt.
No, that's Thursday.
Thursday. Not tomorrow night. I'm doing a forum tomorrow night. Exactly. Okay. Sorry. Bye-bye.